Hey there, everybody, and welcome into Ravens Rundown. I'm your new host, Joey Peterson, and today we're looking at 5 cut candidates after Friday night's loss against the Eagles in the preseason opener. This is per The Athletic, so let's see what 5 guys they have not making the 53-man roster cut. But before we go into those, I need you guys to subscribe. We're in a month-long AFC North sub-battle, and currently, we're in last place. Not far. We're still within 65 of the Bengals, only down 16 of the Browns. If we're getting beat by the Browns, that's unacceptable. If you're getting by the Browns, we're 16 subs away, 17 from passing. Let's at least do that. Subscribe to the channel, join the flock today, and we'll get started with today's show. Let's get into the cut candidates. Number 1, we're starting off with quarterback Devin Leary. This one shouldn't be a surprise to anybody after Leary's game on Saturday night. We got to see him for about a quarter and a half, almost a full half. There are the numbers. 4 for 12, 33% completion percentage, 66 yards, 0 passing touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown, threw no picks, which is the brightest spot from his entire game. We've talked about him twice since Friday night's loss. Just not the best game from him, right? You can tell he's not an NFL caliber quarterback. If we go into this season, if the Ravens go into this season having Devin Leary as their backup quarterback, I think there might be some problems there. It's not like Josh Johnson did much better, but when you just look how they play football, Josh Johnson just, I don't know, looks a little bit more comfortable. Devin Leary, like I've already said, looks at one receiver, stays looking at him the entire time, and even if they're triple covered, he's going to throw it in there anyway. He has 2 more games to prove me wrong. But at the end of the day, I just don't think he's built for the NFL. Some people are built for college football. Looks like that's what Devin Leary is. And some people are built for the NFL. Some people are built for both. Devin Leary, in my opinion, just a college quarterback, not going to be much more. I don't think he makes this roster. But who do you want to make this roster of these 2 quarterbacks we have backing up Lamar Jackson? Do you want it to be Josh Johnson? Do you want it to be Devin Leary? Let me know in the comment section. Write JJ for Josh Johnson. Type DL for Devin Leary and let me know. Love chopping it up with you guys down there. On to our next cut candidate, our second of 5. We got running back Owen Wright. Now, if I'm being honest, I think Owen Wright on Friday night looked like the better back to me. He looked like, when it was compared to him and Rasheen Ali, looked like he had a little bit more juice to him. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you guys felt, but if you look at the numbers from all 3 of the running backs from Friday night, Owen Wright had the best night. 7 carries, 33 yards, broke off a 12-yard rush for the longest of the night. Rasheen Ali, 10, 26, and 5, 2.6 yards per carry from him. Chris Collier, 3 carries, 11 yards, 7 was his longest. I just think Owen was more productive. I really do, and I get it. You spent a 5th-round pick on Rasheen Ali. You want him to work out. He had so much hype coming out of him from Marshall. And Owen Wright, he's a UDFA guy from the year before. But I think we need to just throw all of that away and look at the fact of, okay, who's going to be the better running back of these 2? I think if these next 2 games shake out the way that I think they're going to, or even if they shake out the way that Friday night shook out, I think Ali's going to be on the chopping block. I do. I think Owen Wright looked like the better back on Friday. I think Owen Wright might be the better back. We'll see how it all shakes out. We'll see how if Rasheen Ali can make a comeback this Saturday against the Falcons. But to me right now, Owen Wright is the guy making this roster, not Rasheen Ali. Before we get to our next cut candidate, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Fanatics. Nate Wiggins, what a Friday night he had against the Eagles. If you guys want his jersey, if you guys want anybody's jerseys, 25% off on Fanatics.com right now for all jerseys, for all Ravens gears. But if you want a Nate Wiggins one, head over there. Chatsports.com/Wiggins. You can get that for 25% off. So head down Fanatics. If you want to be dripped out going to the bank this year, go. Get that Nate Wiggins jersey. It's going to be a star. On to our next cut candidate. That's Russell Gage. Newer name. Signed him last Tuesday. Practiced with the team all last week. If you look at his stats, Friday night against the Eagles, 1 target, 0 receptions, 0 yards. Not great. Not great at all. But I don't know. I just don't think that we've seen enough personally. I think that he's only had, before 3 days of practice with this team? Maybe? And we're going to say he's already on the chopping block? I don't think that's necessarily fair. He hasn't gotten a lot of time to work with Lamar Jackson. He hasn't gotten a lot of time to work with anybody on this team. He's only been in Baltimore for, it's Monday, not even a week yet. Give him a little bit more time. I'm holding off till the end of preseason until I make my call on Russell Gage. Wouldn't be surprised if he makes this roster at all. I think he really could. I think he's almost like Nelson Aguilar, maybe with better hands. He did deal with a hamstring injury, an ACL injury the year before. But, man, he stacked some good seasons together, and I just think it's a little early to be saying he's not going to make this roster when he hasn't been a Baltimore Raven for more than 6 days. But what do you guys think? You know my thoughts. I'm kind of going to type Y here. I really think he makes a roster. But you let me know what you think down below. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Will Russell Gage make the 53-man roster? I'm typing Y. Next cut candidate we got is Beau Brade. Now, if I'm being honest, guys, this one I think is the one that surprises me the most. And I get it. He's an undrafted free agent. He's out of Maryland. He's a hometown kid in that sense. Love seeing all the Maryland players at Friday night's game against the Eagles. But I thought he played really well. I thought he made some really good plays. And everything that's been coming out of camp so far from this summer was Beau Brade has a really good chance to make the roster. Jeff Zebrick from The Athletic, he said this was his toughest call, leaving Braid off. The undrafted rookie from Maryland showed his physicality and energy Friday when he had a tackle for loss and a forced fumble. He might be competing with Kane, the rookie 7th rounder, for one spot. And I think that's what it's going to come down to as well. If you look at both their stats Friday against the Eagles, Beau Brade, 3 tackles, 2 solo tackles, 0 sacks, but he had a tackle for loss. He had a forced fumble. Snoozy Kane, 4 tackles, 4 solo tackles, 0 sacks, 0 tackles for loss, 0 forced fumble. Now, this is going to be a battle I'm glued to over the next 2 games because I really think these next 2 preseason games are going to be the determining factor for who gets that last spot in the safety room. I think it could be Beau Brade. I think it's a similar situation to the running back room where you have an undrafted free agent and you have a guy you spent a draft pick on, and you want to keep the guy you spent a draft pick on because you don't want to look silly, you don't want to look stupid, you don't want to look like you wasted draft capital, but it's more important to have a good player on the team. I think Beau Brade might be a better player. Snoozy Kane did play really well, did get injured, just a stinger, looked a lot worse on TV than it actually is, but that's a battle I'll be keeping my eye on. Next cut candidate, we have cornerback Trayvon Mullen. And for him, I'm going to say the phrase that most 45-year-old men have uttered in their lives, the best ability, what is it? Say it with me, availability. And that's not what Trayvon Mullen's giving you right now, plain and simple. Injuries the last 2 years, 2023, toe surgery, out for the year. This year, a subluxation of his shoulder. Plain and simple, to dumb it down for everybody, because I didn't know what that meant. I had to look it up. It's a dislocated shoulder. It's when the shoulder bone pops out or in and out, and that's what he's dealing with right now. But he just hasn't been on the field a lot. And when you look at this cornerback room, it's a pretty stacked room. You got, obviously, Nate Wiggins, Brandon Stevens, Marlon Humphrey. Those are your top 3 guys, but Jalen Armour-Davis has shown some great stuff. TJ Tampa practiced today for the first time. Millette, he's hurt currently. And you got a lot of other guys fighting for roster spots. But the thing about Trayvon Mullen is he's not there to fight for a roster spot, right? He's hurt. He's injured. And I truly, when you look at it, I think Washington and Williams have a higher upside. I really do than Mullen does. Washington can play in the slot, and he can play other places like a safety. Williams, he had a great game on Friday night. And so I think when you're kind of trying to decide between all of these different guys that you got in the cornerback room, I think you go with the guys who are there more often, who are available more often, and guys who are more versatile. You can put in different positions, and I just don't think that's Trayvon Mullen. But what do you guys think? Rate this Ravens roster for me, okay? Now project the 53-man roster, whatever it is in your eyes, grade it for me. How do you feel going into the season? A, B, C, D, or F? That'll do it for today's episode of Ravens Rundown. I'm Joey Peterson. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Follow me on X as well. I'm tweeting Ravens every day. Let's pass the brownies.